always be mine. Sing it to the world. Always be my boy. I'll always be your girl. Nobody business. Ain't nobody business. Ain't nobody business but mine and my baby. Mine and my baby. But mine and my baby. But mine and my baby. Ooh. I look you, baby. I look you, baby. Me and you get it. Ain't nobody business. Said it ain't nobody business. Your love is perfection. Please point me in the right direction. I'ma give you all my affection. Every touch becomes infectious. Let's make out in this Lexus. There's no other love just like this. I like with you. I wonder, can we become love's persona? You'll always be the one that I wanna come home to, boy. Let me love you and show you how special you are. I wanna be your baby. You'll always be my baby. Tell me what you want now. Sing it to the world. Baby, give me time. I'ma be your girl.
And I want to say this to all of you that sat down and took me in. Englishman, get up! It is not time to sit down and tuck the in. It is time to stand up against a system that fundamentally hates you. And I will say this to all of the elite, to everybody that seeks to replace us. England will live, Britain will live, because the British people live. And we have the heart of Britain inside of us. And as long as the heart of Britain beats, Britain will live!
Once upon a time, somebody ran away, saying fast as I can. I got to go, I got to go. Once upon a time, we fell apart. You're holding in your hands the two halves of my heart. Oh, 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 oh.
Once upon a time, we're burning bright. But all we ever seem to do is fight. On and on. And on and on and on. Once upon a time on the same side.
This is the moment you've been waiting for. Don't call it a warning. This is a war.
It's a parasite. Got a feeling in your stomach 'cause you know that it's coming for you. Leave you flowers and grief. Don't forget what it told you. When we forget the infection, will we remember? Suspect that they kill you. Something else will.
Hugh Anthony. No offense to the GOAT, my GOAT, Hugh Anthony.
Said our hustlers' work is never through. We making it 'cause we making moves. The only thing we know how to do. Said it's the only thing we know how to do. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard. Keep partying like it's your job. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard. Keep partying like it's your job. Said our hustlers' work is never through. We making it 'cause we making moves. The only thing we know how to do. Said it's the only thing we know how to do. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard. Keep partying like it's your job. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard. Keep partying like it's your job. Hey, said our hustlers' work is never through. We making it 'cause we making moves. The only thing we know how to do. Said it's the only thing we know how to do. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard. Keep partying like it's your job. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard. Keep partying like it's your job. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard.
I just want to say the weather's getting better. It's nice and warm. You know what? I am sweating like a fat bitch to chippy right now because it's extremely warm in my box of a room. But you know what keeps me cool? When I'm sweating my ass off, doing a live show with 5 different lights beaming on me, a nice cold mug of black currant juice in a Prioritise Britain mug. Nothing beats a nice cold mug of black currant juice in a Prioritise Britain mug. And if you want your own Prioritise Britain mug, you can go and get one on the website www.prioritisebritain.co.uk. In fact, drinking this will send you straight to Agartha. The Prioritise Britain mugs, they send you straight to Agartha. So grab yourself one of those. I'm just gonna...
You come from a land down under, where women glow and men wonder. Can't you hear the thunder? You better run, you better take cover.
We have had enough. This is our country. You are here as guests. You will be leaving as guests.
For the King and St. George!
When the light fades, there's a high place that I go. In the night state, there's a heaven that I know. If you see me dream.
Wait. Go back one.
What do you say?
Bring his face up. Full screen.
His glasses.
There's a reflection.
That's the Nuevitas baseball team. That's their logo.
And he's talking to whoever's wearing that jacket.
We may have a witness.
To both shootings.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Prioritise Britain. I'm your host, Hugh Anthony, and we have a big show for you tonight. Lots to talk about. We're going to be talking about reform and their civil war that's been going on over the last few days with the Tory faction inside of reform and the what they call the Zionists faction inside of reform, the big supporters of Zia Youssef. Some people accusing the relationship between Nigel Farage and Zia Youssef completely collapsing. Some people like Tim Montgomery saying that Nigel Farage has fallen out of love with Zia Youssef, especially after Zia Youssef's comment about Ben Wallace, who was the old defense secretary, saying that he was a traitor to Britain. Nigel Farage condemning that, said he'll have a word with him. So people have been making a lot of assumptions about where they currently stand and where reform stands in regards to the factions inside of it. And obviously we know, like I've been saying for months, a deal between reform and the Conservatives will be an inevitability, and Conservative ministers now coming out and saying there will be no agreement, there will be no talks or compromise whilst Zia Youssef is still part of reform. So we'll be going over all of that. It's all been pretty predictable. I've been saying this for quite a few months, and now I think that people are finally beginning to realize why I've been talking about that, finally beginning to realize what I was meaning when I was saying all of that. I know people were trying to throw everything at me. The Tories are dead. Reform will never work with the Tories. There is no uni party. The uni party is being squashed, and I was sat there going, guys, Burnham's going to come in, Labour's going to be revived, Reform's going to go down in the polls. They're going to need to work with the right wing. That will include the Tory party. The uni party will begin to turn its cogs again, and we'll be straight back to square one. So I've been trying to tell everybody exactly where we were heading. Nobody was listening. Nobody ever seems to listen. They never seem to listen when I talk about these things. They just think, no. They have these reactions to the last few years of the failures of the Tories and the failures of Starmer that they automatically mean that is what the future will be. The future will be without the both of them. The future will be without the uni party, and that's just not true. That's not how our politics works. That's not how our politics has ever worked. We live in a generational time where people have attachment to their ancestors, and one of the key things about our political system is generational voting. And people cannot wrap their head around the fact that the millennials, the Gen X, even the boomers, a lot of them still do generational voting. I mean, my entire family was generational voting. They always voted Conservative because they'd voted Conservative since the wars. And that's just the way it carries on. And even up until now, my family still vote Conservative. And I'm like, hello? Do we really need to be voting for the same? Do we need to be voting for the African woman? Can we not vote for like fascism? Like, why are we still voting for the African woman? But generational voting corrupts most of our country still, and people cannot seem to wrap their head around it. Especially in places like the suburbs, the nice leafy villages that have existed for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. They live in a bubble. They don't live in the understanding of what we are nationally. They live in a bubble of their own community and their own people. So it was pretty obvious that everybody was going to fall back into the trap of the uni party. And eventually when reform collapses, which is also an inevitability, which is what I was trying to explain to Mark Collette. If you watched that show when I did with Mark Collette just before the local elections, I was trying to explain if you do not destroy the uni party by allowing it to implode itself, it will just rebuild and it will suck everything on the outside into the uni party. And really, that's what we're beginning to see. That's what we're going to see. I mean, even as of 2 days ago, Kemi Badenoch's odds to become the next Prime Minister of the UK was 4-1. Kemi Badenoch, if you told me that last October, you said Kemi Badenoch has the highest possibility of being Prime Minister come 2029, according to the betting market, I would have laughed in your face. I would have said, you are retarded. But it's happening. It's happening because people are blindly walking into it. We are sleepwalking into the danger. We are sleepwalking into allowing some African blood-libeled individual, Nigerian woman, have control over our parliament. But lots to talk about regarding that. It's a, I don't want to say blackpilling. But it's a very annoying situation and a very predictable situation. But obviously, like I keep saying to people, the majority of people that try and engage with politics are mental retards. And because they're mentally retarded, they actually have no understanding about how long-term thinking works. They read a headline, they look at a poll, they see brown people and they're like, there you go, that's the answer. It's like, hold on a minute. You're talking like years until you get to a solution. You're talking years until you get to something changing. So it's all a little bit depressing. It is a little bit infuriating. I'm pretty chill about these things. I look at the situations and I let out a deep sigh, but I'm like, well, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? Anyway, before we get into that, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss whenever I go live. We are live Monday to Friday, 7:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. British Standard Time. What do you guys think about the haircut then? I went back to my favorite. I don't use the Turkish barbers. Only because, do I trust an Arabic man with a blade near my neck? Not particularly. Not particularly. It takes one of them to recognize me, send over like a tribe whistle, and then that, and I'm like, hold on, I don't trust these people. So I went back to get a haircut today. I think it went pretty well, right? I can't do my curl, which is why it's in the mess. I tried to do the curl, and it just didn't work. She cut it too short, a little bit too short for my liking. A little bit too short. Shut the fuck up about my haircut, all right? This is what we call Gen Z. This is what we call Gen Z. I wanted to do the quiff with the curl, but the issue is my hair is like, I've got like Chinese man hair, right? My nan's always said it to me. I've got hair like a Chinaman. So my hair does not naturally have curls unless it's grown out quite a bit. So to get like the curl at the front, I have to let it grow to at least like there. And then you obviously swip it back and you swip it back and it looks better. But she cut it too short. You guys are so nasty to me. You guys are so nasty to me, right? You guys are horrible to me. I'm going to Jason Arday myself and it's your fault. I'm going to Jason Arday myself and it's your fault. But I can't do the curl. I tried to do the curl, all right? I did give it my best shot, but it just wasn't having it. So I thought it was all right, okay? I thought I looked good, all right? Maybe it's the camera. This is the webcam. We need a proper webcam. But maybe it's the camera. Maybe that's what's annoying me. See, look, the women have my back. The women have my back. That's it. It's men. You know what? I'm a feminist now. Fuck you people. The feminists were right the entire time. It's all men. You're all rapists. You're all pedophiles. You're all dirty misogynists. I'm talking about girl power. Girls gonna run the world because men are bullies. Men are nasty creatures. Men are nasty creatures. No, I'm joking. Anyway, I'm joking. But then I was like, what do we pair it with? And I got a delivery this morning. And if you remember yesterday, I said the new merch was on the way so I could show it off to you guys. Now, this is my favorite one so far. This is the quarter zip with a little shield showing the Union flag and roses surrounding it. I think this is sick as fuck. The collar's based. It's like casual. It's casual. It's you know, you can go incognito with it. It reps the brand, but it's like a quiet representation for those that don't want big logos. I'm very happy with it. I put it on earlier. I went, you know what? This is swagger. I like wearing a quarter zip. And I was like, this is what I've been missing. This is embroidered as well. It's not even printed. So look at that. It's fully embroidered. So I think it looks great. I think it looks great. I'm very pleased with how this came out. It's getting ready for autumn as well. Where, I mean, it's been raining. It's been raining. The fucking sun's going down quicker now. I was quite enjoying my summer nights, and now it's like dark by 9 again, so it's like, right, whatever. But I'm getting ready for autumn with the quarter zips, and I think it's great. I think it looks very professional, right? And you guys can go get yourself one as well. They're on the website, prioritisebritain.shop/shop. It's the first link in the bio, but I think they're great. And then also what came is, not only do we have the quarter zip, but we've also got a few more things. Let me show you these. This is the new zip-up hoodie. This is also, I'll put it that way. Hold on, let me move the mug so you guys can see fully everything. This is the new zip-up hoodie. You've got the embroidered PB logo there for Prioritise Britain. Then on the back, this is my favorite bit. On the back, we've got the same logo, the same shield logo with Prioritise Britain with 1707. And if any of you are smart enough, and you should know by now that 1707 is when the Acts of Union was formed. That's what allowed for the Kingdom of England and the Kingdom of Scotland to form together to create what is now known as Britain. So you've got 1707 with Prioritise Britain and the nice logo, I like this one. I don't really like hoodies that much, but it's a zip up. So, you know, I can style it a bit. I can be a fashionista. So they're also available on the website, embroidered on the front, printed on the back, Prioritise Britain 1707. And then we've got some September releases. This is exclusive. I showed this off to the Telegram earlier. If you're not part of the Telegram, follow it. It's the first link. And I was like, you guys get to see this first. It's the exclusive brand new hat. If you remember my speech that I gave in Birmingham at the Britain First rally, I said something at the very end. I said, England will live, Britain will live because the British people live. And we have the heart of Britain inside of us. And as long as the heart of Britain beats, then Britain will live. So Britain lives kind of became the move on from England lives. The new advancement is Britain lives. So the new hat, I think these are pretty sick as well. A little Britain lives hat. I'm very impressed with these. These are good as well. Nice embroidery. Again, it's subtle. It's a nice subtle hat. I don't know why the ad. I've been asking my guy that knows how to do it, how to turn it off, but he's not got back to me yet. I'm figuring it out. I don't need the fucking ads. I never get monetized on these things anyway because of the intro. But nice little Britain Lives hat. Very subtle as well. Very subtle. Listen, this is all like coming out for autumn. Good autumn collection. So you can go find those on the website September 1st. These come out September 1st. These are available now. These come out September 1st. But I'm very pleased with that. I think these are good. We've got the Prioritise Britain hats. We've got the Britain Lives hats. There may be another one coming out. But I'll mention that at a different day. And then finally, this is what everyone's been waiting for. You will have seen the advertisement, the trailer at the beginning. It is the Spur Wars t-shirt. And now I did mention this yesterday, and a lot of people are excited for this, the Spur Wars t-shirt. I just got to say, it's come out brilliantly. This is going to be limited edition, September till December 31st. Look at that. We've got Emperor Palpatine, aka Tommy Robinson. You've got me as Luke Skywalker, obviously, main character energy. You've got Reese talking as Chewbacca, Angloid as Han Solo, my wonderful Congolese queen, Bastian Ooga Booga, down here as Jabba the Hutt, size accurate as well. Size accurate based in bougie. So she's so welcome for that. You're so welcome, Dajunga. Dajunga, if you want one of them, we do extra large. So I can get one of those sent to you. We only have one of those though. So if you do want it, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to have to use it as a blanket or something. Then we've got Young Bob here as 3CPO. We've got Mr. Zuma Historian as the bounty hunter, as Boba Fett. Instead, he is the BBC hunter. That's his own fault, by the way. He can thank me for that, but it's great advertisement, so. You've got Steve Laws down here as Yoda. I sent this to Steve and he found it hilarious, so I'm pretty happy with that. You got Alex Yerbury as R2D2, just another one of the characters that makes noise. Lucy White as Princess Leia. Rupert Lowe as Obi-Wan. If anyone can figure out who that is, that would be fucking hilarious, right? That would be hilarious. Now let's just use some lore. That's his father. And they have family difficulties, dark side, light side, ethno-nationalist side, civic nationalist side. This is the Death Star of David. This is the Death Star of David. So I think it's pretty good. Spur Wars, right? Look at that. I'll put it a bit closer, you can see. Spur Wars. I think that's come out wonderfully. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when I would wear that, to be honest with you, though. I think I might wear that onto the pub at some point. It'd be like, why I've got a picture of yourself on the front. I'd be like, listen, we got to go through all 6 episodes there. We're not doing the Disney ones, all right? It's not happening. Don't even ask. The Disney ones are not happening. I'm not doing that shit. My favorite character is BB-8, actually. Angloid. Angloid is here. He's Han Solo. Civ Nat Wars with Spur Wars. I think it's great. I'm very pleased with how that turned out. Yeah, I'm not sure how that would work if I wore that in public. People would be like, why you want a t-shirt? I'd be like, listen, don't even question it. Don't even question it. But we're going to do all, I was talking to people about this. We're going to do all 6 episodes. Don't even ask. Please don't ask. I don't care about 9, whatever, 7, 8, 9, don't care. But we're going to be doing every single year, Christmas time, September till December, we're going to do one of the movies. So 6 years running, and it's going to change. Not all the characters will be the same. So this year, obviously, you got like Jaden Palmer and whatnot, and then next year it'll be like different people. Yours truly will always make an appearance, obviously, but it'll be different next year, it'll be different the year after, and we'll get all the way until episode 1. The Phantom Menace. I love the Phantom Menace. I don't know why I get such slack. Jar Jar Binks. Miss, I love a Jar Jar. I fucking love Jar Jar Binks. I'm like, I don't know why everyone hates him. Darth Sith Jar Jar Binks. Subversion. Played right into the hands, made everyone think he was dumb, and then turned around and basically wanted genocide. Like, hello, Aura? Anyway, that's the new Spur Wars shirt. People are very excited for that, so make sure you're looking out for it. September 1st, it'll be dropping at midnight. It'll be dropping at midnight on September 1st, and it'll be leaving on January 1st of next year. The morning of January 1st. So Christmas gifts, birthdays that are coming up, anything that's coming up, so anything that's coming up. Anyway. You know, I'll tell you this. While I was at the barber's earlier, or the hairdressers, whatever you call it, I was sat down in the chair, right? Obviously, I don't really like talking. It's just not my thing, you know what I mean? Like, when you're cutting my hair, I'm just like, get on with it. And I was just sat there like people watching, because I was just looking in the mirror, and you can see like out into the street and the people walking by. And I was sat there in the chair, and then the guy next to me finishes, and they invite the next person over. And I look at the next guy that they bring over. It's like this fat, and I'm talking fat. I'm talking like double D's fat ginger kid. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And it just makes me thinking about obesity and like fat people. What the fuck is wrong with a parent if you let your kid grow to the size of Based and Bougie? Like, what are you doing? This weird, like, fat ginger. I mean, like, number one, you're ginger. and then secondly you're fat, it's over. It's just over. You better hope that cardiac arrest catches up to you. But I'm like, what are you doing to let your kid do that? It was disgusting. And why do we say it's fine? You know, I've noticed this as well. Anyone else notice this? Have you noticed since the beginning of like Manjiro or like Ozempic, all this body positivity's now disappeared? All these like, accept who we are, accept our weight, don't attack people for being fat. That's all just gone now. The second you can inject yourself with something, now nobody gives a fuck about being body positive. But why are we it's disgusting. Like when you're walking, when this kid's walking, and I'd say he's probably like 16, 17. And look, you can say I'm picking on kids. I think that every kid should not be fat. So you can say I'm picking on kids, but frankly, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, if your kid is that fat at that young of an age, you have failed as a parent. But basically, he was walking and like everything was jiggling. Everything was jiggling. And I was like, calm down. I don't like your haircut. I've heard this like 3 times. I don't give a shit. But everything was jiggling. And I was just like, that is disgusting. You're setting the kid up for failure. Like you are setting the kid up for failure. The dating market is abhorrent nowadays. I mean, when looks maxing's on the rise and everyone's insulting one another about everything under the sun, and the women are now, they all want like some Jude Bellingham mixed. I mean, number one, they all want mixed race men now. This is why women shouldn't make decisions for themselves. But all the women want some like 6'5", ripped, rich guy. I'm like, if you're like, what, 400 pounds and ginger at the age of 16, just give it up. Just give it up. I mean that nicely. And it's the parents' fault. It's the parents' fault. Because why would you let your kid do that? You know what I mean? Like when I looked, a few months ago, I was looking in the mirror and I was getting a bit of weight on me. My face was getting a bit more round and I was like, oh shit. I started going to the gym. I started eating healthier. I have not had a McDonald's in months now. The goy slop has been annihilated. I made the difference. If I had a kid, when I have a kid, because I want a kid, my kids will never be fat. My kids will never be fat. I refuse to have fat children. That would be the most horrendous thing I could ever do. I would be a disgusting parent if my kids were fat. You know what I mean? Like if my kid hadn't even breached 18 years old and was already a fucking ball, then something's wrong. And everyone's just lazy. They don't want to go out and they don't want to do exercise. You don't even need to go to the gym and lift weights. That's a myth. Brisk walks. You can just diet, calorie deficit, good night's sleep, red meat, water instead of fizzy drinks all the time. That's all I'm saying. But instead, they're like, no, kid's going to sit inside McDonald's constantly. And they always make the excuse. I always hear people do this as well. Oh, but it's cheaper to buy fat food than it is to buy organic products. Well, that's just not true. Anyone that says that's a liar. I buy a cucumber every 2 days because I have cucumber sandwiches. I like cucumber. Well, it's in a wrap, but I have cucumber in a wrap. It's like 90p for a cucumber. You can go get a wrap for 90p. Tesco own brand. You're spending like £3 on a full meal. That's way cheaper than a McDonald's. But all these idiots that are letting their kids get fat and disgusting. And look, being fat is an insult. It is an insult. That's just the truth. It is just an insult. I've had people that I used to know that are now getting fat. And there's some people that I know that have gotten quite fat over the last few years. And when I see them get fat, I laugh. I'm like, that's fucking hilarious. I'm like, good. I'm like, that's called revenge. That's karma. Now you're a fat, balding bitch. There are some people my age, at the age of 23, that looked fucking disgusting already. I'm like, good. You deserve that. That's what you get for being an abhorrent piece of shit. That's what you get for turning on me. And they get fat and disgusting and slobbish. And they know it as well. And it's, you know, my favorite thing is as well. when they all wear black to try and hide their stomach, because obviously from the front you can't see the wrinkle when it's like a black shirt, and then they turn sideways and you're like, are you expecting? How many months pregnant are you? It's so funny. There are so many people that I used to know from like uni and secondary school who were just arseholes, and now they're fat and disgusting slobs. Now they're fat and disgusting slobs, and I'm not. And I'm not, and I would never be fat because I refuse to. Anyway, the moral of the story is, let's just not get fat. It's just disgusting. I can't deal with it. You know what I mean? But yeah, this is why, like, look, they always say, like, the fridge. The women are just the fridge. But as women nowadays, women are getting way more fat. And I think this is, again, all these, like, social things like body positivity, it's mainly just targeted towards women. It's mainly just targeted towards women. They're trying to make women feel good because women are always complaining about something. So, you know. Anyway, the moral of the story, don't let your kids get fat. It's disgusting. And all you got to do is set them up for failure and heart disease. And then we talk about the NHS collapsing. It's like, well, what do you expect? You guys are also adding to the decline of the NHS. No wonder no one get a fucking hospital bed. You're taking like 3 of them. No wonder my plane tickets are more expensive. You're booking out 2 seats because your fucking fat ass has to put 1 cheek on each. And we have to accept that as normal. If I was supreme leader, when I become supreme dictator, I will make fat people illegal. It will be illegal to be fat. And if you are fat, you will be force injected with dietary loss injections. You'll be force fed Manjaro or Ozempic. That's the only way forwards. So, you see how Mary leaves for one day and now everyone's going on about fucking 300 pounds Ebony's. Like, what is going on? Why aren't super chats working? Super chats should be working. They should be working. Anyway, yeah, if you want to drop a super chat, I'll get to those at the end of the stream as well. Become a channel member as well. I'm going to start adding custom emojis. People are asking for custom emojis. I don't really know of what. I'm sure there's some things that people want, but anyway, let me get on to the actual... all right, guys, let's just stop with the fucking questions. This is why I don't read chat. This is why I don't read chat. You guys, every fucking day, every day you make me question why I even put on a show. Why do I even do this? I don't know. I really don't know. What am I bothering for? I don't know. Anyway, well, let's get on to the actual news. We're going to be talking about the reform thing. I want to talk about Restore really quickly there. Obviously, I've not been happy with Restore for quite a few months. I've not been happy with Restore for quite a few months, with Restore continuing to add people like Scott Benton, continuing to allow like Alistair Harrison have control over Rupert's social medias, Rupert continuing to be a boomer, a Thatcherite boomer that is promoting legal migration, happy for diversity, the very like typical Tory slop, that kind of thing. So I've been obviously on the attack, being like, well, hold on a minute. This is Thatcherism. This is Tory-like bullshit. Obviously, Rupert's been working with the publics committees, with the Tories for the last few months. He's been on the committee. He's been on the board working with them. So I've been saying for a while, well, hold on a moment. I'm not a big fan of the direction where that was going. The tweets about the IRGC, the tweets about the protection of Israel and how he supports the annihilation of Hamas. Like, obviously, that's dog whistles towards Zionism. Obviously, Rupert's Twitter account responding to Tommy Robinson multiple times in his comment is legitimizing the Tommy base, and that's legitimizing the entire situation regarding the Civnats, right? So I've said for a while, I'm not a big fan of that. I said that's only going to head in one way, which is where the ethno-nats get pushed out and they get blamed for the electoral losses of Restore, like what we saw after Makerfield, which I warned about. And I said what will happen is they will keep employing candidates like the candidate they had down in Norfolk or Marlon West. They'll keep employing candidates that are civic nationalists and Zionists by their core ideology. And they've continued to do that. And today, well, they've done that again. They've employed another Civnat moron who for months has been attacking the ethno-nationalist base, for months has been making it clear that he wants integrated Muslims, that he wants integrated Indians and Pakistanis and Africans and all of that. And I looked at it today because they went and employed Howard Cox as the transport spokesman. And if you don't know anything about Howard Cox, let me give you a bit of a rundown. Howard Cox has been on the centre-right of politics for many years now. He has continuously attacked ethno-nationalists, and he said that the idea is unpalatable to the general British populace. He has quite literally bragged, and I'm not joking, he's quite literally bragged on podcasts before that his wife used to be married to an Indian guy. If I had ever had a wife that had been married to an Indian guy, number one, would never get married in the first place. Number two, why would you brag about that? This guy sits there on a podcast bragging that his wife was getting raw dogged by some G. Like, what? And this is the guy they're employing to be a spokesman over at Restore. The same guy, he said that if he was London mayor, what he would do is enforce that every single government building inside of Greater London had to fly the Israeli flag. What? I don't care if he's trying to wind up people. I don't care if he's trying to wind up the Muslim base or whatever. This guy is attacking ethno-nationalists. He's bragging about his bird being raw dogged by some curry monster. And then he's saying that every single government building in Greater London should be flying the Israeli flag. And Restore think this guy's a perfect candidate. And fundamentally, this is the issue with that party, is the people that are in charge of making the decisions are employing civic nationalists and the centre-right kosher conservatives who are not nationalists in the slightest, who do not believe in keeping our country a homogenous state, who disagree with the fundamental basis of Britain being a nationalist state. They believe in this idea of globalization and westernization and this Western alliance. But someone like Howard Cox being given another role inside of Restore. And do you remember how I said just like a week and a half ago, I said they wouldn't, if they were going to promote Charlie Downs up and to be deputy of Restore, they would have done it by now. But I said they're not going to do that because it's not appealing to their base, because their base is people like Scott Benton, like Howard Cox, like Mark Button over in Norfolk, right? How do you pronounce it? I always get told off to pronounce Norfolk, whatever. But you see what I mean? Continuously, time after time, they employ these candidates that do not follow in the ideological values of nationalism. Because fundamentally, you may have Charlie Downs and Lewis Brackbull and Harrison Pitt that may be working behind the scenes, but their ideological base is not what's driving Restore to be a mainstream party. What's driving Restore to be a mainstream party is Rupert Lowe and his very moderate approach to immigration. It's Rupert Lowe and his appeasement towards legal migration and towards international finance and globalized capitalism. It's Rupert Lowe and his appeasement towards small government and trying to put up this fallacy of, well, everyone can have their own independence and their own liberties and freedoms and all of that. That is what is driving Restore. Because when the general population look at Restore, they're not thinking Charlie Downs. They're not thinking Charlie Downs accusing Nigel Farage of being bought out by Jews. They're thinking Rupert Lowe sat there saying he's not talking about repatriation. He's not talking about remigration. They're thinking about Rupert Lowe sitting there in front of Jacob Rees-Mogg and saying that he is a true Tory. They're thinking about Rupert Lowe sitting there in front of Joe Rogan and say that he believes in legal migration, but it needs to be integrated. They're thinking about Rupert Lowe sitting there and saying that a refined Tory party is the vehicle forwards. That's what they're thinking about. They're thinking about this moderate 1980s conservative man who is role-playing a nationalist, but he's not a nationalist. That's why they keep employing non-nationalists into the party, where people like Charlie Downs are still never going to be given the major role that people want him to have. And that's what I'm warning about. That's what I've been saying. And I know that obviously I've had disagreements with people on our sphere. I've had disagreements with people like Steve, where I've said, look, I just cannot see a path where Rupert would allow a radical youngster to be given a major role and a public figure role inside of the party. He might be the spokesperson, but he's not going to be the deputy, because why would they need to have him as the deputy when he does not represent the core beliefs of the people that are running it, like Rupert Lowe? Well, they wouldn't, because it's unappealing to the major base. Because the major base inside of Restore is still not the nationalists. I keep saying this. The nationalists might be the loudest ones on social media. The nationalists might be the loudest ones in people's comments and making YouTube videos. But the actual base, when you look at the branch meetings, when you look at the pictures that come out of the events, when you even look at what happened in Makerfield, yes, there were loads of young nationalists on the ground, but it was also swarmed with middle-aged to old people, and a majority of them are civic nationalists. They are centre-right, which is why when I pulled out the board the other day and I showed you where Nigel Farage was, where Rupert Lowe was, where the Reform voters were, and where the Restore voters were, and where the nationalists were, I said, well, if you look at them, the only thing that Restore voters and Reform voters disagree with on a basis is some economic policy. Whereas us nationalists, we disagree on a racial policy as well. It's not just economics, but we disagree when it comes to the understanding about who actually is British. There's so many times where this has happened, and this is why I was warning about the legitimization of people like Tommy, is because legitimizing his base brings over those idiots that cannot comprehend that you cannot be British unless you are part of one of the ethnic groups that makes up the British grouping. And if you're not part of that, you will never be part of us. But Tommy's base can't understand that, and by Rupert calling them patriots and responding to Tommy and allowing Tommy to promote Restore, he's inadvertently allowing Tommy to become a spokesperson for Restore, even if people like Charlie Downs receive media backlash. And that's what I've been warning about. And it's been clear as day for me to be able to see that. And I hope you guys are smart enough to be able to see that as well, because my audience is smarter than other audiences, because we can actually analyze situations. So when I saw Howard Cox be appointed today, well, I just wasn't surprised. What did you want me to say? Was I supposed to be, like, shocked? He fits in with the rest of the team. He's just one of the boys. And that really is the fundamental failure of Restore, is what it was promised on the tin is different from what's inside. And by what was promised on the tin, I mean the graffiti that everybody else wrote on top of it. Because if you actually read the ingredients list of Restore, it was exactly what we've been warning about. I mean, even since they released that first video of Rupert Lowe in the field and he said small state, I actually tweeted, I went, not a fan of the small state stuff. That seems like international finance. That seems like Thatcherism to me. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And people need to recognize that. Otherwise, you'll continue to fall into this trap where you are basically taken as a fool and advantage of. And that's the sad thing. That's what I'm not happy about. But that's how British politics are going to work, because as I also said, I was like, look, majority of right-wing voters in this country, they're still in their elderlies. They're still our boomer generations. They're still the millennials. They're still the baby boomers. They're the older people. Majority of the right-wing vote is older people. And that's the thing they need to appeal to. And I said, as much as young people don't like it right now, we cannot jump straight to power. We need to take the back seat to get into the system, because when we get into the system, well, who's going to be dying off? It'll be the boomers. It'll be the baby boomers. They'll be dying off. They'll be retiring. And who replaces them? We do. That's how you get the next generation into power. You have to build them up. A lot of like the new Tories that you're seeing come into play now, a lot of the people that Rupert Lowe is talking about that he admires as young Tories, they are not the ones with roles inside of the cabinet. They are not the ones that are on the shadow government. They are the ones that are working behind the scenes, on the back benches, just in the middle benches. They are the ones that are working on committees quietly, keeping their head down, because they know damn well that when all of the older Tories retire or die off and they need to replace them, they're the ones that will get brought forwards. That's what I'm warning about. I'm saying, look, to be honest with you, right? We do not need to win most of the vote. We really don't. I don't care. And this is what you guys should be thinking as well. Like, look, we have to understand where we're at. We have to understand how our politics works. I don't give a shit about majority of the voters. I was debating with I'm not going to expose it because it was private DM, but I was debating with somebody about like activism and going out and starting active groups and gaining political power. And they were like, well, you need the general public. I said, no, you don't. You don't need the general. They don't matter. Because the general public are not the ones that are making decisions. The general publics are not the ones that are in power. The general public will just vote anyway because they're idiots. They'll just vote for generational voting, or they'll vote for what they believe to be the good thing or the better of the evils. I said, you have to get into that better of the evil. I said, they don't matter. I'm not trying to appeal to the idiots that don't want political power, because it's useless. It's a waste of time. You can have 1 million people on the street protesting. You can hold UTK rally after UTK rally. You can hold protest after protest. They're not making the decisions. The people making the decisions are the people on the inside. The people making the decisions are the staffers, the organizers, the lobbyists, the backbenchers. That's who I'm focused on. I want our people, our guys, to focus on getting in there to replace the boomers, and then we get the power. I couldn't give a flying fuck about appealing to the women and the foreigners and the civ-nuts. I don't care. I'm not interested. I want to get a collection of our guys on the inside, which I'm already building, and have those working for us as sleeper cells. And then to replace the people that are currently dominating us. That's the way that it works. So unless we're preparing for that, then we're not even close to winning. We're not even close to winning. But I wasn't surprised about the Restore situation. I wasn't surprised about the Howard Cox appointment. But some people have been attacking me. Huey, he's just working for the transport. You can't define that as the pinnacle of the party. Yeah, but he's just another one, isn't he? How many of them are there now? There's multiple of them. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, let's get on to Reform. So obviously Reform's been having this like factional divide inside of its party for the last at least 2 weeks now. A little bit longer, to be honest with you, but that was happening behind the scenes, where especially since the deal was put out by Rupert in the 12-minute video to Nigel Farage to collaborate with Restore and Reform, because Restore knows that they've hit their electoral ceiling. And Nigel Farage comes out and he says, well, my mind is open to it. We can talk. These are my deals, blah, blah, blah. And they went on this back and forth. And the inside information from the party was the fact that Zia Yusuf represented the faction that wanted to work with Restore, obviously because in Zia Yusuf's mind, he just wants to fold Restore and make them subservient to Reform, so Reform can be the electoral viable party on the right wing. And then you have the Tories inside of Reform that were denying the deal, saying we don't want to work with that, that's too much for us, because they were, again, these are the ones that are being captured by the Conservative Friends of Israel. These are ones that are being captured by the liberal media, the foreign-owned media, the civic nationalist taste, and they're rejecting people because of people like Charlie Downs. And obviously, the conversation inside of Reform behind closed doors would have been people like Charlie Downs represent the party, represent the ideas that we do not want on the right wing, which is the nationalists, because, again, the centre-right will always work to try and expel nationalists from its grasp. So we were going on about that, and I was saying, well, the obvious outcome is that a deal is reached regardless, because they both understand that to have a the best shot at winning power come 2029, they will have to collaborate one way or another. Otherwise, they will be squashed by Burnham and the Burnham bounce. You're looking at the Red Wall up in the northeast going back to Labour. You're looking at the stronghold in all the cities expanding, especially that in Greater Manchester. I said it is inevitable that you would have to go down this situation where Restore and Reform form the coalition. But then I also said it's inevitable that the Conservatives and Reform would end up having a coalition. And if you really look at what's going on at the moment, this factional divide inside of Reform has started to take a swing at Zia Youssef. The ex-Tories inside of Reform are now criticizing Zia Youssef's behavior. Somebody like Tim Montgomery, who was suspended from Reform today, he went on the Spectator podcast and he was criticizing Zia Youssef as not being a team player, saying that when Tim helped Robert Jenrick defect over to Reform, Zia Youssef didn't talk to him for months. Because Zia Youssef, he is the token brown guy, but he is there specifically to uphold the status quo of civic nationalism, but to allow for Reform to have slightly harsher language when it comes to migration, when it comes to talking about demographic change. Zia Youssef is the figurehead of avoiding the racist allegations, because obviously if it's Nigel Farage sat next to Zia Youssef at a press conference, it's, well, how can I be racist talking about immigration when this guy here is from Sri Lanka? You know what I mean? So it's obviously he's just the figurehead to avoid the accusation of racism. But he also does hold more to the right than the average base inside of Reform. He is the red meat to the more quote-unquote extreme side of Reform, if there even is one. But he is the one that is more to the right of this situation. And obviously the ex-Tories, now this is the same thing, the ex-Tories will still understand and comprehend that the Tory party is not going to die. They are still going to be the people that comprehend that they are still loyal towards the party, even if resigned. And what I will tell you is a lot of the people that defected from from the Conservatives to Reform, they defected on a whim. Robert Jenrick, I don't know if this is public information, but I'll say you anyway. The only reason Robert Jenrick defected was because he panicked that he was going to be kicked out of the Conservatives. So he defected before they could kick him out. That's why he defected. And Andrew Rosendale, I'm sure you guys know Andrew Rosendale. I've met Andrew Rosendale in person, actually. But Andrew Rosendale wasn't actually, I think I can tell you this, wasn't actually going to defect to Reform. But the reason he defected to Reform is because it was leaked that he was going to, which him and his office had no idea about. And then they were like, well, now we're going to get the whip against us. We're going to get suspended. So now we have to. So a lot of the Tories inside of it actually weren't planning on defecting. They were just forced into defecting. They were forced into going over to Reform. So obviously there is still that dual loyalty towards Reform and the Conservatives, because in one mind, they're part of this new party. In another mind, they recognise that that new party will collapse when Nigel leaves, because like UKIP, Reform is just Nigel Farage. Without Nigel Farage, it collapses. Just like when UKIP lost Nigel, it just turned into a big spiral of people contesting for the leadership, trying to drain as many wills out of the party as they could, because obviously the one thing that keeps up right-wing parties, right-wing dissident parties here in Britain, the one thing that keeps them going, the one thing that keeps them funded are wills. People will sign a party into their will before they die, and then obviously they'll forget about it, they'll die, and that party will be owed a section of the money from that person's will. This is the only reason that UKIP's still going, by the way. I know Tenkoni will never admit that. That is the truth. You can ask anybody. Ask anybody that is slightly on the inside of politics. The only reason something like UKIP is still going is because they're still sucking wills out of old people that signed it years ago and forgot. But they signed it because of Nigel. So without Nigel, UKIP collapsed. And without Nigel, the Brexit Party just disappeared. It had to reform into the Reform Party. And Reform was not popular under Richard Tice's leadership, so obviously Nigel Farage comes back, and then it starts boosting again because Nigel Farage is the populist figure of the centre-right. And they all know that without Nigel, reform will collapse. And really, if you look at it, what they're doing at the moment is it's almost like they're pinning for Nigel Farage's departure. And this is why I think they're attacking Zia so heavily, because I don't think Zia would be as willing to cooperate with the Conservatives as somebody like Robert Jenrick. And if you really look at the donors that are backing reform, they are the same people that are being big fans of people like Robert Jenrick. Look at people like Philip Ulfman. I've been over Philip Ulfman before. Big donor to Robert Jenrick, big fan of Robert Jenrick. Robert Jenrick has received thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds from foreign donations, which have a direct interest in the centre-right neoconservative surviving in this country. And that's what I've been warning about, is their overall plan is Nigel Farage leaves reform. Be that before the election, be that next year, be that after the election, time will tell. It depends on where the polling heads. And this is why Kemi Badenoch's beginning to bump up again in the polls, because obviously reform has begun to settle at a specific polling number now. They're not bumping up, they're not bumping down, they're kind of just stuck. They've stumped. And this is why Kemi Badenoch is beginning to rise again, because the Conservatives are back on 21%. So what's the best way to contest the 2029 election? Well, this collaboration between the two of them. So all of these arguments that are happening about Zia and happening about Charlie Downs, what they're trying to do is remove what they see as the detractors towards the centre-right, and they're trying to merge the centre-right together with Restore, with Reform, with the Conservatives. And the best way they can do that, obviously, Rupert Lowe would be willing to bend the knee to Kemi anyway. He's a big fan. He's a big fan of the Tory party. He calls himself an old Tory. He says that he'll work on the committees and he'll turn up to work and he'll collaborate with the Tory party. So obviously, somebody like Rupert Lowe would be willing to bend the knee to Kemi if it came to it. Nigel Farage, on the other hand, it's been his life goal to harm the Tory party. He's always wanted to squash the Tory party, but that's not going to happen because obviously you cannot just annihilate the centre-right. It's not going to disappear. The establishment is not going to just bend over and die. You have to implode it from the inside, like I keep saying, like I've been saying for months. So Nigel Farage is in this situation now where he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Because on the one side, you got Zia Youssef, who's been there for the last few years and has been basically his right-hand man to help build up reform. On the other side, you've got all these ex-Tories that have defected into his party, and they cannot figure out which side to go on to because he needs the support of the centre-right, otherwise he's going to lose the next election. But then also he doesn't want to lose people like Zia Youssef because people like Zia Youssef have helped build up reform, and a lot of the reform base like Zia Youssef. They say he's a good spokesperson. He is the figure that denies the racism allegations. So Nigel Farage is in this bad position. And if Nigel Farage is in, this is why I said he's lost all his steam. He's a lame duck at this point. He's in this bad position where he has no power anymore because he's being bullied into submission by both of these different sides. So the most obvious example of what would happen, which is what is happening, is let me look at this, right? Look at imagery. Imagery is extremely important when it comes to politics. Everyone saw that horrendous Farage fest. Very cringe, very boomer slop, wanted to kill myself. But everyone saw the cringe Farage fest, right? And what was the main point that I recognized from it? Lee Anderson, he's there in a football jersey, you know, the normal, we're just chilling out, we're normal blows. Andrew Rosendale, just chilling out, normal, whatever. Robert Jenrick, well, look at him. He was dressed up all smart, people were commenting, oh, look at this, he's looks-maxing, he's looks-maxing, blah, 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 blah. He was dressed with a nice black shirt, a cream blazer, he had that very, like, casual, but professional look about him. He was trying to appeal more attractive to the cameras because they're trying to pin him up as the next guy. They're trying to pin him up as the next leader. And look at the contrast. They were originally doing this with Zia Youssef, With Zia Yusuf, they were spending months and months and months trying to promote him as the next leader of reform. He was always the one appearing on all of the promotional material. He was the one doing the videos outside of the HMOs. He was the one giving speeches. And now, look at the reverse. They announced the changes to the welfare system. They announced the, well, I'll talk about that in a moment, but they announced the changes to the welfare system. And it's Robert Jenrick. It's Robert Jenrick coming out, and he's the one laying down these policies. These policies, again, appeal more to your traditional conservative, the ones that care about GDP rather than about living standards of people, about looking after the nation, about the nation state. Robert Jenrick is being promoted and given this spotlight because the obvious goal here is if you remove Nigel Farage, then and you replace him with somebody like Jenrick, Jenrick obviously wants to work back with the Tory party because Jenrick is a Tory. And if he's in charge, then Zia Yusuf gets squashed and disqualified. People like Charlie Downs will get pushed to the side. And the coalition on the right wing goes back to being the neoconservative, economically concerned individuals that do not care about demographic security and do not care about looking after our nation of people. And I mean, even if you look at the actual policy they're announcing at the moment regarding like the welfare state or like the employment issues regarding if you've not been in work for the last year, then you'll do 20 hours of community service a week. I'm not really sure how that works. But what I'm trying to warn of is if you actually look at that policy, well, who do you think takes up majority of PIP payments and the welfare payments? It is still the British people. It is still the white British people. It is 73%, I believe it is, of claimants are white Brits. They are just going to want to fold. The ones that have gone over to reform, the ex-Labour voters will look at that and be like, well, hold on a minute. I've already seen people that are very staunchly reformed, people like James Bennett, who I know, and I've met a few times. People like James Bennett, who was going on about his mum. She's on PIP, she's disabled, she needs the payment. He's saying, well, will she get it? Because they're saying only the severely disabled. Already they're creating these rifts, but these rifts appeal back to the centre-right. And it's people like Robert Jenrick that are putting forward these policies, saying the whole will make people that are not been in work for a year work 20 hours a week. I don't even know what that means. Like, some people just don't need to work. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some people just don't need to work. Like students, for example, they just like live off of student loans. I don't really think students are going to be happy with that. So you're just going to lose those votes. You're going to lose the incel vote. The incel vote is going. The incel vote is going out. So all of these policies they're putting forward, all of these policies about welfare, removing PIP and reworking the disability allowances, all it's going to do is disadvantage them when it comes to polling among white Brits, because it is white Brits that are mainly sucking it up. A lot of the foreigners get away with it. Severely disabled, half of them are fucking inbred. Half of them are fucking inbred. They get away with it because they are disabled, because their mum married their cousin and had some weird like spasticated child. But this is what I'm saying right now. Originally, the plan was Zia Yusuf will be the replacement of Nigel Farage. But now the donors to the party, the people in charge of the party via finances, the people in charge of things like the Reformed Jewish Alliance, they want Jenrick because Jenrick is their spokesperson for the centre-right. He's still got the appeal of the white man. He's a white, patriotic, younger, more attractive man than Nigel Farage that will help rebuild the right wing. And what he means by that is fold it back into the Conservatives, because the death of reform will end up with the Conservatives taking over all the infrastructure, rebuilding up its membership, and the Conservatives will carry on the battle versus the Labour Party. You've already began to see that on the left wing, with the Green Party beginning to collapse, with the membership going back to Labour, with Labour beginning to rebuild up its base. That will happen here on the right wing if the donors get their way, and if we allow ourselves to be pushed out, which is why I'm saying this is the critical time. This is the critical time, whilst there is so much infighting, for us to get into these systems, for the young man to get into these systems and wait for the boomer generation to begin to die off. And I mean that very nicely, but very truthfully, begin to die off so that we can replace them. Because without doing that, without having that lifeline, then you're going to allow the foreigners to be able to sectarianly vote their way in. You're going to allow them to dominate our politics. You're going to allow the foreign business to continue to be the power force behind what drives Westminster. You have to prepare for that situation. We have to prepare for the fact that Nigel Farage is going to end up leaving Reform via retirement at some point. It was already close, but it's getting closer. And when that happens, that is when the centre-right strikes. That is when the Zionist lobby strikes. That is when the neocons strike. And when they strike, we end up with the Conservatives and we end up with an African Prime Minister. And I'd rather not do that, all right? I'd rather not do that, but this is why I said the deal was inevitable. Because already, they were saying weeks and weeks ago, we'll never work with the Tories, we'll never work with Reform. And then Zia Yusuf tweets 2 days ago, well, they've now said that a deal with Reform is only possible if they get rid of me. So this deal that never existed was never going to happen by what they both were saying. It wasn't just one, wasn't just the other. They were both saying it'll never happen. I said it'll happen anyway. I said it's bullshit. I said ignore them. I said everything they're saying to you right now is simply propaganda because they're trying to play media games. It's all PR stunts. I said ignore it. And now, apparently they are preparing for a deal because the fact they're even willing to discuss if a deal would be viable or not shows that they are talking behind the scenes and they're preparing for 2029. Because that is how politics works. That is exactly how politics works. That is how politics has always worked. It is a show. It is theater. It does not matter what they say to you on social media. I have been saying this. All these idiots telling me there will be no deal, there is going to be no deal, nobody cares about the Conservatives, nobody cares about Labour. Shut the fuck up, you fucking goy. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. Shut up and learn. This is why I'm saying people don't understand. It's like, obviously you don't comprehend what's going to happen. Obviously you have no idea what's going to happen because you think that politics is what you see on fucking TV. You think it's what happens on a TikTok reel. You think it's what happens on the Twitter timeline. It's like, stop being dumb. It's idiocy. This entire situation is so perceivable, and all you have to do is comprehend the fact that they're all on the same side. They're all on the same side, and we're not on their side. The situation with Reform, the situation with the Conservatives, even Restore employing Howard Cox, and people are all shocked by it. Terrible appointment, but not unforeseen, right? Not unforeseen in the slightest. Obviously, we could have seen that one coming. Obviously, why would they want some civic nationalist retard whose wife got banged by a Jeep? Why do you think? This is why the two-party system exists. This is why the uni-party exists, because nothing breaks it. Our parliamentary system, our voting system, the way our country is formed, it quite literally only benefits having a two-horse race the entire time. If a third horse ever comes in, they just shoot the horse. They're like, nope, don't need that. And this is why I'm saying you can only kill it from the inside. You have to be the parasite inside of the horse's guts to kill off the horse. You have to give it internal bleeding. You can't just expect it to die from racing. But I don't know. Every day, I read the timeline, slop. I give an intellectual opinion. I analyze the situation. I get attacked. Hugh, you don't know what you're talking about. Hugh, you have no idea what you're talking about. Hugh, you're being subversive. Can somebody mute this subversive freak? It's like, shut the fuck up, you fucking spastics. Honestly. This is why I can't stand half of, like, the political scene. Everyone's fucking stupid. When I am supreme dictator, none of you are getting free speech. You're going to take what I say. It's going to be state-controlled media. You're going to shut the fuck up. We're going to have complete fascism. You are going to heil Hugh and shut up, all right? Complete fascism. No, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, right? And if people... Listen, this is why... Ultimately, this is why democracy sucks. All right, hot take. This is why democracy sucks. Because you give retards the same voting rights as intelligent people. You give the spastics the exact same ability to have an opinion as the people who are extremely intelligent, as the generational geniuses. You give them the same fucking ability, and I'm like, why? Why? I don't think they should be voting. These people need lobotomizing, not voting. Like, what are we doing? Anyway. But never mind. Never mind. Anyway, I'll get onto the chat. I'm now... I pissed myself off. I just got a tangent and pissed myself off every fucking time with these things. Robert Jenrick's wife is Jewish. Well, yeah, why do you think the donors want her? Why do you think the donors would want Robert Jenrick's wife, who's an Israeli woman, who has worked with security firms in Israel before? Why do you think that the big Jewish donors would want Robert Jenrick? Damn, it's almost like with Robert Jenrick, it makes it even easier for America to use us as a military asset, and we end up in a war in the Middle East. We're already going to end up in a war in the Middle East. We are going to end up in a war in the Middle East. Where are all the geniuses, Hugh? Dead. Everyone's dumb. Everyone's dumb. They're all dead. They all died a long time ago. They all died a long time ago. Anyway. Let me pull up this super chat. Oh gosh. Because it's Hugh James.
In LDN got it back.
Nice. I had my phone nicked once in London, and it was some Arabic guy. So I went up and I got it back. I got it back. I seized my phone back. You know what somebody did earlier? Somebody reported me to the police earlier today. Actually, I just remember this. You just sparked a memory in my head. Somebody reported me to the police earlier, right? You want to know why they reported me to the police? Because I called mixed race people mutants. I was like, what? They were like, that's derogatory, that's dehumanizing, that's offensive. I said they were mutants. But they are. To mutate means to change from the natural form. It's like if your entire lineage is European, and then you mix with an African, your kid's not going to come out looking like the entirety of your entire lineage. So, I don't know. Like, what would you want from me? What do you want from me? It is a fucking mutant. It just being something that's changed. It's not normal. It doesn't look the same. Well, it's not. What are the key components of mutations? Is a complete change in your genetics. Well, you don't have full European genetics anymore. So I'm like, what? You don't have full comprehension of your genetics anymore. And another one of the components is the fact that it looks different permanently. Well, obviously, if you have a half African child and a half European child, that kid's not going to look like you. That's why you call it a mudshark. But I didn't say, I just said mutant. I thought mutants were cool. What happened to the X-Men? What happened to the X-Men? Now it's offensive. It just means change. And they reported me to the police for that. I'm just like, who cares? I said, it's like, what? They call themselves half-caste anyway. What do you think sounds cooler? I'm a half-caste. I'm a mutant. Obviously fucking mutant. Like, what? Like, what do people mean? I don't even know. I literally don't even know. All I said was mutant, and I'm being reported to the police for that. How is that? How is that a criminal offense? Imagine if the police turn up at my door and they arrest me for that. I'm just going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? All I said was fucking mutant. I could have said so much worse. Because somebody asked me, they were just like, what is everyone on about today? Oh, I fucking hate this. Sometimes my chat is just so stupid. Like, what are we doing? But somebody asked me, they were like, my dad's English and I'm brown, what does that make me? I said it makes your dad a race mixer and it makes you a mutant. Well, it's true, bro. Tranny's a mutant, so true. Bro, why are you calling Africans baddies? All right, let's calm it. Stop. Zoomer, get out of my chat. Stop talking about Africans. Somebody at the door, Hugh. Yeah, mate, probably. I'll wait to get the police at my door again. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be PC Pakistani. Bro, you're under arrest. You called somebody a mutant, bro. That was wicked. Is that all right? Yeah, but they are. Like, it would also be a mutant if it was like an Englishman and a Russian. You know what I'm saying? You mix an Englishman with a Slav, that's a mutant as well. So, I'm not stupid. Well, I clearly wasn't talking about you then, was I? It's just some things that I was reading. Oh, Hugh James is a mutant. He's a mix between an Asian and an Englishman. He's a mutant. Hugh, are you mad when I say mutant? Is that offensive to you? Are you going to report me to the police for calling you a mutant? Why is that even? Imagine, okay, if they're gonna report me to the police, and mutant's going to be the next thing. If mutant's going to be the next thing, then we're gonna have Mutant Act. We're gonna have the Mutant Act, where it's a criminal offense to refer to a mixed race person as a mutant. It's just stupid. Who cares? Like, literally, who gives a shit? I don't know. The Brits are German. Yeah, we were mutants, and now it became the normal thing. But I don't even know. I don't fucking know. I just can't be arsed for these people. It's always fucking TikTok as well. She said she was a spaz. Oh, this country's so gay, man. This country fucking sucks. This country fucking sucks. You get arrested for saying, like, basically nothing. You've got black people being loud on buses. Every fucking new house that you move into sinks of curry because some Indian family live there. You've got the call to prayer waking you up at like 8 o'clock in the morning. Your high streets are littered with fucking corn stalls. This country's fucking, it's gay. I wanted to live in a nice Britain, and now I'm living in a fucking jungle. I'm living in a jungle. I'm getting arrested for saying mutant. Like, all right, yeah, okay, whatever. We need Hugh's DNA. I will do a DNA at some point. I'll do a DNA at some point. I can't. I'm off to America in a few months to go see some friends. I might claim asylum while I'm there, just to like escape. This country's fucking retarded, man. It's such a shame. What do you do about it? What do we do about it? Just got to accept it, don't we? Can I eat a bacon butty? I don't like bacon. Oh shit, I'm a secret Muslim. I don't like bacon. Bismillah, my niggas. I don't like bacon. A silence kafir. I thought about this actually last night. I was like, obviously, Alex Jones did the Jew. Then Jew Boy did the goy. And then Sneeko cringily did the fucking kafir. What do Christians get? Heathen. Like, what do we get? What do we get? They want to ban dogs. I want a fucking dog. They ain't banning dogs. German girl, what? I could join 2C TV. I've met Maya 2C in person before. We used to follow each other briefly on Twitter. He unfollowed me there. My favorite Iranian unfollowed me. I don't even know why. I don't know what I did. No, we got on. We got on like a little bit. Heretic, yeah. No, me and Maya got on a little bit. Do you think I should message him and be like, mate, your kid's going to be a mutant? Should I be like, mate, your kid's going to be a mutant? Or would he like crash out at that? He might crash out at that, actually. I don't know. It's when he was sat there. I found it so funny when he was sat there, like when the Iran war started. and he was going on about down with the regime, bomb them, bomb the hell out of them, keep bombing them, keep bombing them, keep bombing them. And then a few days later, he tweeted, "I've not had any contact from my parent. I'm getting concerned. I've not had any contact from my." And it's like, bro, you were asking Netanyahu and Trump to bomb the shit out of Iran, and now you're concerned that you don't have contact with your dad. What? I was like, what? He's like, please bomb my home. Please bomb my home. And they bomb his home. And then his dad doesn't respond because he may have got, I don't know. I didn't carry on with that. And then they bomb his home. And then he's like, I've not had any contact with my dad. It's like, okay. It's like, okay. That's like me saying, please bomb Grimsby. Please bomb Grimsby. And then they bomb Grimsby. And then I go, I've not heard from my nan in days. It's like, what? Well, what do you think? Bro, what is wrong with you people? Why am I reading this? Why am you guys are lucky you can't see the Rumble chat right now. Why am I reading this message from this guy? Do you guys need like psycho evaluation? You need like genuine antibiotics or some shit. You need pills. You're a deranged individual. You have mental problems. You need to like maybe just overdose on pills at this point, because like what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? You have schizophrenia? What is wrong with you? Why doesn't Tusi go and fight? I have no idea. I met Tusi in Birmingham, actually. It was at the Palestine-Israeli game or some shit like that. You know what I mean? It was at that game where the Israelis got banned or something, and antibiotics. Yeah, I don't know. I'm tired. I'm tired. I didn't mean antibiotics. I meant fucking I don't care. I don't care. I just don't care. But it was at the Israeli game, and I bumped into him, and he gave me a little interview, and it was after Tommy was insulting me. He gave me a little interview, and I thought of what I said. I stuck by what I said, and yeah, I told him he was going home. I told him he was going home. Who's Tusi? Just some Iranian guy. That's about it. That's where I got flashbanged at that protest. I've only ever been flashbanged once. That was a very interesting experience. Threw it right in my fucking ear. Threw it right in my ear. Well, I don't know when I'm next traveling. I don't know what I'm doing next. I don't know. I don't know. I've got a few things to do, but no like public events planned. I'm kind of bored of all the protests. They don't really go anywhere. You know what I mean? They don't do anything. I spend hours traveling. It's like money to travel to go stand at a protest, and like nothing happens. It's like, okay. I know next thing that I want to do is next year at British CPAC, I want to get a bunch of us together, and we'll just go and like, we'll just go and troll. We'll go and troll. What do they call herpes in the UK? They call it a cold sore, but herpes exists there. If you're on about this, I just bit my lip. That was actually it. It's just dry skin. That's why I have Vaseline. Where's my little tub of Vaseline? Oh, that's stickers. Oh shit! Prioritise Britain stickers, exclusives. That's why I have Vaseline. Is Northern Ireland British or Irish? It's British. Bro, what is wrong with this guy? What is wrong with this guy? If you just created an account just called Grow Your Hair, you actually have just you created an account called Grow Your Hair. This guy creates an account on Rumble to message me. He goes, eat sugar to grow your bones, you boneless soy short-headed loser. Short-haired loser. All right. What is wrong with these people? Vaseline, yeah, you put that on your lip. Okay, what is wrong with these people? You know what I mean? Like, this is like, this is what I deal with. Eat sugar to grow your bones, you boneless soy short-haired loser. Cheers, mate. I get a fucking haircut. And then to me, it's, well, you're short-haired. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Low taper fade. Yeah, Ninja did this for me. Are my mods out of control? I don't even know what's been going on. Listen, if you guys are getting banned, you're probably saying some stupid shit, and it's just retarded. Like, that's probably your own fault. Just don't be a retard. You ever thought about that? Just don't be a retard. But people can't comprehend that. They're like, why did I get banned? It's just like, you're just being like retarded. You're just repeating like retarded shit after retarded shit after. Do you realize how like the people that aren't retarded and just are normal don't get banned? You ever considered that? Why did I get banned? Why did I get banned? Maybe because you were just being weird. Maybe because you were talking about like Ebony BBL or some shit like that. Maybe that was your own fault for just being a fucking freak. You ever thought about that? Maybe my mods realized that you're not the kind of person we want around you. You ever thought about that? Maybe it's your own fault. Maybe you should like shut the fuck up. But I'm talking about Ebony BBL. I'm talking about Ebony BBW. It's like, okay. Oh, you wonder why you got banned? I don't know. Maybe it's because you're just a weirdo. Maybe it's because you're just a weirdo. You ever thought about that? Anyway. Asking about Mary. You want me to answer about Mary? I have no idea. Mary's probably just anxious because of the wildfires near her house, and she's taking the night off. That's probably about it. You want the answer? There's been no falling out with Mary. Mary and I are very good friends. I spoke to Mary last night. That's probably the answer. I've not spoke to Mary today. I have no idea. She's probably just been dealing with a lot because of the wildfires next to her house. There you go. Happy now? I don't know. Why don't you go ask Mary? Why are you asking me? Why would I know? Why would I know about where? Do I look like Mary? I only spoke to her last night after the show. You go ask her. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I can't be asked. Right, I'm going. I'll be back tomorrow. Mary. Yeah, well, whatever. They're gonna do shit all. They're gonna do. Oh, for God's sake, hold on.
Got my £75 refund from GBC Pack.
The fact you bought a ticket in the first place shows that you're fucking retarded, by the way. That's all I'm saying. But the fact that you bought a ticket in the first place shows that you're a mental retard. Anyway, I'm going. I'm back tomorrow. Like, subscribe, notification bell. Hugh Anthony on every single platform. Go get some new of the merch like this. PrioritiseBritain.shop/shop. First link in the description.